Everybody, welcome to the Party for the Peregrines Plus. My name is Jeff Hall, and I want to welcome you to the Audubon Society of Rhode Island's annual fundraiser. And this is a fundraiser like no other, because this is a time like no other. And that's why we're calling it the Party for the Peregrines Plus. If you've been to the previous parties, you know that we usually have it on one evening, and it's a big gala. But given the lockdown and the quarantine and all the other craziness that's going on in the world right now, we've decided to spread this out over 4 nights. Each night will start at 7 p.m. We'll have raptor interviews, fun games, some Q&As. Tonight we're going to have 2 raptor interviews, and I'm going to show you a preview of all the incredible auction items that we have. Tomorrow we'll have 2 more raptor interviews, a really fun nature trivia game that's going to be hosted by Tracy Hall, Kim Calcagno, and Lisa Maloney. Thursday, we're going to take you behind the scenes of our raptor care program. We care for 13 birds of prey, and they're used as ambassadors to school programs and to get people connected to nature. They're under our permanent care, so they require food and vet care, and that's why we raise money during this party. And it's also important to learn about their importance and the habitat we protect. We'll have a Q&A with Joe Zabrowski, our good friend, who's the bander of the falcons that we have a nest on top of the Superman building in downtown Providence. Just this past week, the eggs hatched. You can see them on our webcam, on our website, or on our YouTube, or you can see clips that we've posted on our Facebook page. Friday is the big day, though. That is when we'll have a special raptor interview with an actual peregrine falcon. And then we're going to close out our online auction, and we have tons of items for you. And it's ironic that we're holding it on Endangered Species Day, because peregrine falcons were once endangered species, but thanks to supporters like you and conservation efforts around the world, they are no longer endangered, and we have many of them nesting in our state. Our auction is so big this year. We've got trips, we've got one-of-a-kind experiences, dinner and music and art passes, we've got artwork. It all closes Friday. And we also this year have a special golden ticket raffle. Normally we will raffle off an opportunity to come band the peregrines. But this year, because we don't have our live auction, we're going to sell 50 tickets at $50 each. So everybody's going to have a chance to come up. And we'll take 2 people, probably Wednesday or Thursday after Memorial Day. That's when usual banding takes place. And if the pandemic prevents us from going up top, then we'll have you come with us next year. But down here in the links, we have you can see our catalog, you can enter the bid, you can start buying raffle tickets for the golden ticket raffle, and most importantly, you could make a donation to Audubon to help us through this difficult time and to make sure that we have the resources to take care of these raptors and to continue to conserve land throughout the state of Rhode Island to protect the habitats. Now I'd like to introduce Larry Taff, our Executive Director.
Thank you, Jeff. All of us at Audubon are still working hard to help conserve nature, even in this crisis. If you step outside, you can see that spring is definitely in the air, and it is a time of renewal and hope. Birds are coming back north, and so being out on an Audubon trail is a great way to relieve stress. Though our visitor centers remain closed, and our school field trips and other programs have been canceled for the time being, our staff have been continuing their active stewardship of Audubon refuges and have kept the trails safe and open for people to hike. We've heard from many people, members and non-members, how thankful they are to be able to get outside and hike in a safe and quiet place. Our education staff have been busy developing videos and other activities so they can help local teachers provide quality distance learning experiences for their students about nature. They're also preparing for the months ahead so that if given the go-ahead, they'll be ready to open back up, start summer camp, and start planning for programs and field trips to resume again in the fall. We've even begun to work with partners in the establishment of the Providence Stormwater Innovation Center in Roger Williams Park. So you can rely on Audubon to keep on working to protect birds and habitats, but we rely on you for your financial support to keep us going through these stressful times. So please, bid high and tell your friends. Anyone can bid before Friday night, And if you would, please support the critical work of Audubon by helping and making a donation. Thank you.
Thanks, Larry. Now, let us take a look at some of the birds that Audubon takes care of. You're going to have our first raptor interview right now.
Hi, I'm Tracy. I'm one of the educators at Audubon, and I'm presenting one of our animal ambassadors. This is Webster, the great horned owl. Webster has been in our care since 1997. Actually, he was born in 1996, and so he's about 23 years old, going on 24. That's an old animal. We call him the old man owl because of that. And we hope that he'll be in our care even longer than that. Great horned owls in captivity are known to live 30 years, sometimes more. In the wild, raptors don't live as long as they do in captivity. So Webster's story is he's actually from Alaska. He's not a Rhode Island great horned owl or a New England great horned owl. And those of you that are familiar with great horned owls may notice that he's paler in color because of the habitat that he's from originally, Alaska, where they don't have a lot of trees and they have a lot of snow. So the reason he is in our care and he's not out in the wild is when he was a young owl, he was found on the ground and he had a bullet wound in his wing. When he was taken to the rehabilitator, they tried to save his life, and they did, but they had to eventually remove most of that injured wing. At first they tried to put a pin in it, and it was actually kind of slipping around to the point where they just had to remove and amputate most of his wing. And if you look, you will notice that there's kind of fluffy contour feathers sticking out on his right side. So that's where he was actually shot. And on the left side is his good wing that's tucked up. If he had both of his wings, great horned owls have a wingspan of 5 feet. So they're very, very good, powerful, big owls. So a large sized great horned owl like Webster can pick up prey as big as a raccoon, even a skunk. So it's a good thing that owls do not have a very good sense of smell, because if that skunk sprays, it won't bother him in the least. Even small cats and dogs. So one reason you want to keep your pets in is because of predators like great horned owls. They will pick up a small dog and a cat. What you just saw him doing is called panting, and it is a way he cools down his body temperature if he gets nervous. And we are outside and there are lots of noises, so he just reacts to that, and the spray just kind of cools him down a little bit and calms him down. Now, he's called a great horned owl because of these feather tufts that you see sticking out on top. Those feather tufts are not his ears. Those tufts communicate to other owls. They can even communicate to us the mood he's in. Right now he's pretty alert. He's also fairly relaxed because they're kind of up and out to the side. But if he was nervous or he was upset, they go back. His ears, like all owls, are on the side of his facial disc, that flat face in the front. And he's got an ear opening that's up high, and he's got one that's down low. So that gives these owls, and that's what he's doing with his head, it's called triangulation. They have the ability to detect sound on 2 different levels. On this level, vertical and horizontal, and so he can pinpoint exactly where the prey is that he's looking for. So owls like great horned owls and other raptors have very, very large eyes. If you compared that to the size of a human being, it would be like if you had eyes as big as an orange. Their eyes are actually light bulb shaped, and when you see their eye, you just see the iris and the pupil. You don't see the whole whites of their eyes, which are taking up so much room in their skull that they can't move their eyes in different directions. So instead, they turn their head like he's doing almost 270 degrees. Thank you for joining us.
These guys are amazing. Hey, did I tell you we had the biggest auction that we have ever put on, ever? So let's take a look at some of the amazing auction items that you can bid on this week.
Located in western Rhode Island, a forest of large oak and pine trees, streams, stone walls, wetlands, and a large pond mark the beautiful and peaceful landscape of Maxwell Mays Wildlife Refuge, one of the more recent acquisitions of the Rhode Island Audubon Society. In the middle of the Maxwell Mays 300-acre Audubon Refuge is a lakefront cottage, formerly the summer guest cottage of the noted Rhode Island artist and philanthropist. The property's private lake and cabin are secluded, offering an ideal setting for a peaceful retreat or a wonderful vacation. The location is great for canoeing, swimming, bird watching, nature walks on the property's trails, or just admiring spectacular sunsets. This charming old-fashioned wood and fieldstone cottage on the edge of Maxwell Mays Pond features fireplace heat, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, full kitchen, a spacious screened porch, and large decks overlooking the pond. Available from April to the end of October, this property is the perfect location for a romantic week, a family vacation, or a weekend getaway.
Those are just some of the one-of-a-kind trips that only Audubon can bring. Earlier, you saw one of our largest owls. Now, let's take a look at one of our smallest.
Hi everyone, my name is Kim Calcagno. I'm one of the refuge managers here at Audubon, Rhode Island. And I want to introduce you today to Penny. Penny is an eastern screech owl, and she came to live with us a couple of years ago. She was found in western Connecticut on the side of the road. We assumed she'd been hit by a car. She has a definite wing injury, and her wing does not unfold anymore, so she's non-flighted. We do think she might have a little bit of neurological brain damage as well. And because she can't care for herself anymore, she came to live with us. She was rehabilitated in Western Connecticut at a facility called Christine's Critters, and she was deemed to be unreleasable. So she came to live with us, and now she travels around to schools and libraries and other programs that we do. And she is a red phase eastern screech owl. So she's a copper color. That's how she got her name, Penny, because she's like a copper penny. She is right now sitting with her feather tufts very far down, but screech owls are in the group of owls that are eared or tufted owls, and so those feather tufts can stand up straight or they can lay down. Part of why we think she has a little bit of a neurological problem is because you can see there's a difference between how high she can lift one feather tuft over another. Now, screech owls are very small kind of owl. A lot of people ask us if she's a baby owl, but she's not. She's a full-grown owl, and it's as big as she's gonna get. She's just a small species of owl. Eastern screech owls only get to be about 6 to 8 inches tall and are a cavity nesting owl, and their size allows them to fit into any kind of good-sized natural cavity to nest in and also to roost in. Screech owls will live in almost any habitat. They like forested areas, they will live in old agricultural areas, and they will also live right in the city or in the suburbs. They are easily attracted to your landscape if you put up a nesting box for them, because they don't mind being around people or being around people's noises and activities, and they will roost in a box all the year through. So these are one of the owls that you can actually pretty readily attract to your landscape. She's looking around now, showing you how she can turn her head, and her eyes are very wide open right now, but she has the ability to turn her head 3/4 of the way around. But she's very curious. She likes to look around, and that's very true of screech owls. They're a very curious owl, and if you think one is living in a hole in a tree, you can make a little bit of noise, and usually they'll pop their head out because they're very curious about what's going on around them. Now, the eastern screech owl gets its name from the sound that it makes, although the sound that it makes isn't truly a screech. It's sort of a cross between a whistle and a cry. They have wavering descending notes called the whinny, like a horse's whinny, and they have a solid wavering note called the tremolo. And sometimes in nature you'll hear one, sometimes you'll hear the other, sometimes you'll hear both. But a lot of times when people hear it, they don't realize they're hearing an owl because it doesn't have that true traditional hoot that most people think owl sounds should be. Now, being a small owl, she has to go hunting after small prey. She doesn't eat rabbits or anything like that. She will go after rodents, from mice, meadow voles. Maybe the largest rodent she might eat would be a chipmunk. That would be pretty big prey. They will eat a lot of insects. Unlike a lot of raptors, smaller raptors like screech owls will actually eat a lot of insects. So in the summertime, they'll go after grasshoppers and mantids, large moths at night. A great place to look for screech owls is in the light of a street light. You'll see an owl swoop through, picking off the moths that are flying around attracted to the light. So screech owls right now are just sort of coming out of their breeding season. In February to March is when they're kind of done courting and they begin nesting. And a little screech owl might lay 3 to 5 eggs or so. A lot of it depends on how good the hunting is for the season. If there's a lot of plentiful food around, they'll lay more eggs. If hunting's been a little bit hard, they'll lay fewer eggs, or they might not lay any eggs at all. And once they hatch, owls stay with their parents for quite a long time. So these guys will be with their parents right through into May. And then the youngsters will start learning to hunt and forage on their own. One of the things about Penny is that she's just full of personality, and she's kind of kind of goofy. When we first got her, and she had never been handled on a glove before, we had to work with her and train her and get her used to being around people and around noise. And we would sit her on a perch out in the office, and any reflective surface, whether it was a window or a computer monitor that was turned off, if she could see her reflection in it, she thought she was seeing another owl. And she would start barking at herself in the reflection, and we'd hear her and wonder what was going on. But it was kind of funny to all of a sudden just hear meow, meow, meow. Because again, they don't sound like a hoot. These guys have a lot of sounds that they make, but they don't make a true hooting noise like a lot of owls do. Screech owls, like a lot of different raptors, have an issue where they do get hit by cars a lot. And they are at risk because when they swoop in on the side of the road for their prey, they are not looking both ways when they cross the street. They're looking straight ahead, focused on their prey. Unfortunately, they get attracted to the roadsides because humans are throwing a lot of things out of their cars that are attractive to things that owls eat. So mice will come to the roadside looking for that tasty McDonald's wrapper or that apple core or that banana peel, and they start eating it, and the owl swoops in to get them, and then they get hit by a car. Another thing about owls and raptors in general is that they're very much controlling the rodent populations. And if you don't want to have mice around, you should encourage the raptors to be around your property. The problem is when people put rat poison out and mouse poison, they don't realize that the mice or rats will eat that and then get eaten by these raptors, and that toxin in the poison can very much damage and sometimes kill the raptors when they ingest it. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, that's a wrap for tonight. Tomorrow night, 2 more raptors and this really fun trivia game. We're going to run the trivia game through Zoom, so you'll have to get a link, and those are below, or you can email us to get that link. But Tracy, Kim, and Lisa have been spending 2 weeks getting this ready, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Remember, you need to register to bid. So if you haven't done so already, go to our auction catalog and register to bid. And please tell as many of your friends as possible. We'd love them to join us, love them to learn about Audubon, and we'd love them to bid.